Blah blah oh. Blah blah oh. Hello there, beautiful audience, and welcome to this very special episode of Pop Talk. I'm Cody MacDonald, and I'm with the two main men themselves, Lyle and Evan.
Hello there, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
General Kenobi!
These two clowns are back in this show again.
Yeah.
Feels
Hey,
like
kids!
so many clouds.
Yeah.
I love it.
Send in the clowns.
You're awful, Cody.
Oh, that got dark.
Oh, Commander Cody.
Commander Cody.
The time has come.
I was like, yay, my name is in Star Wars, but
Yeah.
at some price.
Yeah.
I'm the one that initiated this shit.
Well, technically, you don't worry, you were just following orders. Well, here comes this speech about how he was just doing his job by following orders. Friends, let me tell you about another group of hate mongers that were just following orders. They were called Nazis.
Yeah.
Cancer merchant! Cancer merchant!
Well,
So,
That ties into what we're talking about today.
that indeed it.
yeah. So guys, we got four things in the room right now that are representing the beauty of the 90s. So representing the beauty of 1992, Evan.
Hi.
Representing the beauty of 93, myself. And representing the beauty of 1995, we got Lyle.
Yeah.
But wait, there's one more.
That's right, I'm the youngest one here.
Representing the beauty of 1994 is the world of cinema. Because guys, is this quite possibly the greatest year in cinema? 1994?
One of them.
Arguably so. yes.
Definitely.
I don't know. I can't think of another year where, I mean, maybe 2014?
1999.
1999. There's some pretty good years out there, but this one stands out
77.
to being some of the best.
84, 85.
Holy shit. There are so many we can cover.
Yeah.
But we're going to definitely do the biggest ones, the juiciest ones. So seeing how I know you guys so well after like 2 years, it makes the most sense for Lyle to talk about the Disney film The Lion King, and for Evan to, of course, talk about Pulp Fiction, right? I know you guys so well, so why don't we just start? No, Evan,
It's funny
what?
because it's opposite.
Yeah, that's the
Also
joke.
joke.
Yes.
Evan,
Get it? Cause opposite. That's funny now.
Old pockets. Anyway.
all right, Evan, what's one movie you want to bring up?
I want to talk about Speed for a second.
All right, yeah, that's a good warm up.
okay,
Yeah.
Kicking things off.
There aren't any. There aren't very many. There's only a handful of action movies that I regard as perfectly crafted in terms of story, practical
Yep.
achievement in effects,
Yep.
and just overall tension. And it just grabbed my attention. It didn't let go. Like, you have a dastardly villain. I mean, this guy is a bastard.
Dennis Hopper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his a catchphrase of his kind of inspired an old gimmick on your show.
Oh, Pop Quiz Hot Shot. Yeah.
No, don't you mean pop quiz hot shot?
That's right.
How many sticks of dynamite do you think it'll take to blow this place sky high?
I mean, when you have a fucking premise that tight of, like, you have a bus that needs to stay above 50 miles per hour or else it blows up in a crowded city like
In
LA.
Los Angeles, where the traffic is the most
Yeah.
apocalyptically bad traffic known to
Takes
man.
full fucking advantage of its premise. So this is a great movie. I love this fucking movie.
Yeah.
It's basically Die Hard, but on a bus.
Actually,
Yeah,
okay.
it's one of the few imitators that rises above
No,
its station.
I don't think of this as a Die Hard imitator. I just think of it like it stands on its own. It kind of stands on its own.
Well, we got John DeBon, who's first time directing this, and he came from being a DP, and he shot Die Hard.
Oh, you shot.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I have a film camera. Ho ho ho.
I love the chemistry between Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock.
Oh, they're
Oh,
just...
that's good.
Sandra Bullock's like cute as a button in this.
Oh my god. Annie. That's her character's name. Annie.
Porter, yeah.
Yes. No, she's charismatic. She's so spunky. She has like the funniest little things. Like, sorry.
They're
I'm
these
trying.
and like I don't know what the rest of you guys, but the way they flush out the people on the bus as like hostages and as characters, like I really feel for these people.
Yeah,
They got-
Cameron's in this from Ferris Bueller.
That's right.
Yeah, he
he's like a
is.
tourist, and he's like at one point he's like hitting on Annie at
Oh,
one
wow.
point. And she created a really good ruse by just taking like gum out of her mouth and just going, "Oh, I have to move seats. I have gum on my seat. Look at this gum." It's kind of awkward, but it's funny. It's a good way for the ladies to get out of gross situations.
It's inventive. Equally gross.
I actually I read up that they had like the biggest crush on each other while filming this movie. And I'm thinking, why didn't they go off to like get married? Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves, they're too cute together.
I mean, like they did in 2006. They did shoot another drama called The Lake House. I don't know if any of you saw.
No, I haven't seen that.
I did not see that.
I never even heard of it.
I heard of it.
Okay. The Lake House was one of those movies that my mom wanted to see in the theater, and it was one of those like weekend nights where like she had me and my brother was off with my dad doing something else. So she's like, "Evan, do you want to come see this movie?" I'm like, "Sure." It was the first time I ever like slept in a movie theater for most of the movie.
I have to see it now.
I was ringing endorsement.
I was 14 years old, and I was like, it was a night out with mom.
Yeah.
I'll say this is definitely one of the strongest performances by Keanu Reeves.
Oh, totally.
I know
a lot of people kind of shit on him, but I think he's really strong in this.
Okay, no, people will shit on his acting, but they never shit on him as a person. Like the guy is in real life, the guy is a freaking gem.
I know, but like,
I agree.
Performances where I don't think he's like has any like awkward line delivery.
Yeah, like
he's pretty intense the entire time.
I think after
given the situation,
I think after Neo, what's his? What the fuck is it?
John Wick.
No, after Neo and John Wick, his character from Speed is probably like the best role he's ever played.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I would
and Point Break and
yes,
and,
Johnny Utah, of course.
Yep.
And what's the one he did with Gus Van Sant?
Oh,
River Phoenix. It's
yeah.
My Private Idaho.
Yeah.
I hear he's really good in that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I watched Speed, and I was like 8 or 9 years old. Like my mom thought, yeah, this is pretty tame. Like I know it's rated R, but it's like there's nothing bad in it. So she let me watch. I watched it with her, and she's like getting a kick out of my reactions from this. So that part where like they're in the midst of like downtown LA just trying to get by, and then it just hard cuts to a woman talking to some other woman with a baby carriage, and it cuts back to the bus, and I'm just thinking, wait, what? Where's this going? Like I fell for this.
Oh god.
She pulls out, Annie's not looking, and then she hits this baby carriage, and she's like, oh my god, it goes flying in the air, and then it's revealed that it was just a friggin' baby carriage filled with aluminum cans. And I just remember like having like this, oh my god, like I can't believe I fell for that face, and my mom is dying laughing at me, like that I fell for that.
It was obvious to her that
she probably had already seen it, and she was loving my reaction.
Hey, I fell for it the same time I saw that too.
Yeah. And she also had to tell me about like the end, where they're on the subway, which by the way, that's such an awesome little sequence. It's like you think when the bus is blown up, the movie's over, right? No, it just keeps going, the action, which is so great. When they're on top of the subway, she's letting me know. She's like, he's about to get his head cut off. Do you want to watch it? I'm like, ooh, that sounds so graphic. So I'm literally watching it through my fingers, and then I was so relieved to realize that it was so quick, and like it looks like you're knocking the head off of a mannequin.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I'm taller.
Speaking of the dialogue, you know that Joss Whedon rewrote like 98.9% of the dialogue.
I can believe that.
I can believe that. There's a lot of wit in it.
Yeah,
I can definitely believe that.
But he wasn't credited, and he was kind of ticked off about that.
Oh, is that right?
That was back when he was in his screenwriting, like ghostwriting kind of days before he got established.
Wow.
And now we don't talk about him anymore.
No.
Let's sigh.
Well, I mean, guy knew what he was doing. I mean, shitty personal issues notwithstanding.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I got one that kind of coincides with Speed, and then I'll hand it to you, Lyle. But just a quick little mentioning. But I mean, we'd already talked about it before. But True Lies came out like a month after Speed. Think of how awesome a double feature that would have been.
If you're an action movie junkie, like you're getting your fill.
Primo.
Hell yeah. James Cameron put that fucking movie on Blu-ray already. I'm tired of watching a Laserdisc.
It's not on Blu-ray?
No. That and The Abyss is not on Bluray yet. And his excuse is, I'm busy making Avatar sequels.
Wait, it's up to him to put it on Blu-ray?
He's like, I haven't had time. I want to do it. I just don't have time.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, we talked about like True Lies before. But what do you got, Lyle?
Okay, I'll pick another action movie. Since I'm the resident moody boy, guys, I'm gonna pick the most gothic fucking movie in existence right around the time of Halloween. and that is The Crow.
Hell yeah.
I knew where this was going.
Yep.
Brandon Lee's magnum opus sadly passed away on set.
Yeah.
Actually, apparently there was a lot of issues on set, like just a lot of haywire things.
Oh, was it?
So the movie's kind of cursed.
Yeah.
But it's directed by Alex Proyas, who, if you guys haven't seen Dark City, I'd recommend that one. I also get kind of a kick out of iRobot, but
yeah, I don't.
He's not the greatest director in the world, but he's got style.
The Crow is definitely one I can get through and go, okay, like that's a good sort of revenge story of like getting resurrected and having a second chance.
Aren't we all?
Like I remember the style, I remember the guitar riff that he was doing.
Yeah,
that was pretty badass.
And the Joy Division cover by Nine Inch Nails.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a sick movie. I've only seen it once though, but I'd happily revisit it.
Yeah, Brandon Lee. Wasn't it like 99% that they shot with him? It was only like
they didn't. I was actually surprised. They didn't have to really like redo a lot of stuff or anything. Like there's a few shots where it's like they had to digitally composite him. That's like when he's falling through the air or something. I'm like, okay, that already looks like just like a cheesy special effect. I don't really care so much.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah.
Well, what did you think of the 7?
I haven't seen The Crow.
Oh, you haven't seen The Crow yet? I think you might like it. You might get something out of the style.
Well, isn't it like it's a superhero movie or
kind of
in a way?
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it's kind of in a way.
It's one of the best superhero movies we saw on Halloween, next to your favorite Watchmen.
Oh yeah,
that'd be a good back-to-back feature.
I think Mandy would go good with that too.
Yeah, Mandy. I want to watch Mandy again.
Yeah, well, yeah, to just have Watchmen like be like the second act of that trilogy, the longest. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to check it out at some point.
Yeah.
Who is next?
I'll do. How about Wes Craven's New Nightmare?
That's a fun one. It's definitely one of the better sequels for Nightmare.
Yeah. Well, this I believe is like the precursor to Scream. Not to go into Scream too much, but like I think Wes Craven had like a really meta idea with New Nightmare. Like, the whole premise of this, Evan, is that they're making a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. And the actress from the original who played Nancy,
Heather
Langenkamp, she's playing someone who's like in real life she's getting actually like terrorized by Freddy. Like that's genius. That's a really like take the step back, open the curtain kind of thing, and like it's really tight actually. Yeah, I don't know. It's only if you get like out of an appreciation out of like Nightmare on Elm Street, then you'll probably like.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the better sequels. I don't think it's as good as Nightmare 3.
Oh, Nightmare 3 The Dream Warriors is the best sequel.
But like I prefer the first one and the third one more.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, man, I'm really fucking tired of meta.
Everything's meta.
It's tiresome.
Well, the meta is too obvious and on the nose and in the forefront. Meta used to be subtle. It wasn't so in your face as it was today.
Well, on that note,
it's like a wink.
On that note, the next movie I'd like to talk about is actually one of my favorites. Well, in my repertoire of movies that inspired me to get into filmmaking, a guy on April 1st of the year before, 93, a dude named Kevin took over the convenience store he was working at, and in 1994, the world was introduced to Clerks.
Okay, we'll jump into this one. This is a personal favorite for both of you.
Tell them what you did this week.
Well, I watched Clerks way too young the first time, and I kind of didn't get anything out of it. Like it was like probably like grade 9 or grade 8. Like I was way too young to really like get it. I just recently rewatched it again for the first time, and I can safely say I quite enjoyed it.
Nice.
I guess I've been converted. Because what was so funny is that I didn't even say anything in the group chat of how I liked it, but then you texted me personally going, I liked you. I'm happy that you enjoyed Clerks. I'm just like, I didn't say anything.
Well, because you were quoting it.
I said one quote, and it's the most obvious one.
I was kind of like, I kind of got this.
I wasn't supposed to be here today.
Yeah.
No, this is like, it really does show. You just need, you don't need much to make a movie. I definitely got that feeling.
That was what kind of to quote what I said on our underrated sequels episode. That's what I was getting at. Like, it's that movie that made me like, yeah, you can tell a great story anywhere if you have nothing. So, but what you know as a place you work at. So
yeah, it's a true success story.
It really, and what's really sad is like that kind of success story in filmmaking is in today's film climate is very, and I mean very difficult to replicate because
you
like
can't, yeah.
You know what it is? It's easier to get something like Clerks today made, but it's harder to get it seen.
Yeah,
that's even in the age of streaming, where you can get every single streaming service known to man, like just to. But yeah,
well, you can film something with your. You can remake Clerks right now with your phone, like for real.
Oh wait, I thought Kevin Smith just did remake Clerks. It was called Clerks 3.
Pretty much. Yeah.
I didn't even know about this, but I really appreciated the fact that it felt like it was a bit. It is a hangout movie essentially,
Totally.
But I liked how it almost feels like vignettes with like
kind of like Jim Jarmusch kind of stuff.
Because like text would come up on the screen, which reminded me of a certain movie that's a very pulpy movie that we'll definitely talk about soon. But it's where it seems to be like there's little bits of story that are just kind of like short films. It felt like you're in an acting class and you do like one scene together with somebody.
Well, it's a slice of life, so of course there's no plot really, but things do escalate over time. Yeah. And I gotta say, I know we're doing a fictional characters episode, but I think I just have to like talk about Dante and Randall in that movie because they're honestly just so amazing to watch. Yeah. The way they bounce off each other, and Randall's just like everyone wants to be a Randall when they go to work, but ultimately you're just gonna feel like a Dante.
Like Randall, like I like how he seems like smug, he doesn't give a shit about being there, but really he's like the kind of like voice of reason to Dante later on
because he's content with his lot in life, and Dante isn't.
He's kind of like hung up on his ex, and like he's not really like he's taking everything out on himself. I think it's just the breaking point is the fact that like, oh fuck, I have to open the store today on my day off, and oh fuck, I have to close. Like I am stuck here all fucking day.
One of my favorite scenes, like when I first saw it, was the scene where he realizes that he's here the whole day, where he calls like his boss's wife. It's like, when the hell was someone going to tell me he left for Vermont? He promised me he'd be here by noon. Jesus, when does he get back? Tuesday? You gotta be fucking kidding me! I got a hockey game at 2. The Steel Sharks are jam closed. He fucked off to Vermont. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
I wonder what this movie how it would feel for people if it wasn't in black and white. How strange that would be.
It would look a little uglier because it was shot with fluorescent lighting. Like, it's not like he really did anything to modulate.
Well, because he shot in black and white because he couldn't afford the lighting.
Which is interesting because when I first saw this movie, I thought the whole reason why it was shot in black and white and why it kind of had like that grainy look to it was because I thought it was supposed to look like a CCTV monitor that's always in like all these convenience stores, so that if they get robbed, they have like identification for the people who robbed the store. I thought that was the intention at first, but I didn't know because I didn't understand independent cinema at the day. I thought everything was Hollywood. So.
I thought it was I thought it was black and white as some kind of joke about like
a joke.
I don't ask me what the joke was. I just thought this is
everything's mundane, so it's
that's what I thought. That's what I thought it was. They were going for.
And that's what they did in Clerks too.
And how much was the budget for this movie?
$27,000.
That's amazing.
And he acquired it by selling his comic book collection and borrowing money from his parents. And he knew
maxing out 5 credit cards.
Yeah, and he knew that if this was a bomb, if this didn't get him success of any kind, he'd be in debt pretty much forever.
Yeah, Jason Mewes, like his car got destroyed or something.
Like,
really? I didn't hear about that.
And they used the insurance claim instead of getting a new car to put into the movie too.
So that's what that little plot that story beat in Clerks 3 was about. Because I didn't understand that. I'm like, like just about everything that you see in Clerks 3 is something Kevin Smith endured in real life.
Yeah, I know the story of this movie all too well now.
Yeah,
I was impressed. Well, not really impressed. I was more surprised the fact that like Jay and Silent Bob were so subdued in that movie. I thought they were going to be in it way more.
Well, Jason Mewes wasn't really comfortable with acting at the time. So
oh no!
Do you know I
supplement that?
I don't particularly care for Jay and Silent Bob. Their characters could have been anyone.
Like, oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I don't know about that.
I mean, they blossomed later on in the other like installments of the what is it called
the View-esque universe.
The View-esque universe.
View-esque universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is I can now appreciate it way more now. Back then I was a bit like on it, and like I've established before, like Kevin Smith wasn't really a filmmaker I was particularly fond of, even though he's an awesome guy in person. This is definitely his best film.
I mean, yeah, it's the one that's gonna stand the test of time.
Yeah,
it's his legacy.
Question, like, what is it's his it's the first thing you think of when you immediately like there's
independent film was blossoming at this time.
Yeah,
you know, like I mean, You had like, you know, Darren Aronofsky's Pi, or no, not Pi. Was it Sex Lies and Videotape?
That's Steven Soderbergh.
Steven Soderbergh.
So
Okay.
Darren
Well, they're all
Aronofsky did make Pi.
Pi, yeah, but they're all in the same. They're all in the same time where it's just like there's this new sort of cinema coming about.
Yeah, Walt Stillman and Noah Baumbach blossoming as well.
Yeah.
Things are looking up. Just people just kind of talking, living their life, and that's exactly what Clerks is.
Yeah.
I'll talk about a filmmaker that I really like who released probably my favorite work of his, and that is Tim Burton's Ed Wood.
That's a good one.
Great choice.
Yes.
This is an excellent film.
I love movies about filmmaking.
Yeah, this is like the primo film about making movies.
Now,
even if you don't have... Yeah, everything's going against you.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't they go to like the actual studio where Ed Wood filmed some of his movies to actually make Ed Wood?
I don't know about that, but they do an
because it still exists. the place he shot.
Yeah. But they do an incredible job of meticulously recreating a lot of the sets, a lot of the costumes, and a lot of the performance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like why a lot of people compare this to The Disaster Artist.
Or why they compare The Disaster Artist to this.
Yeah, exactly. But I like this one a lot better because like the main character, like obviously Edward D. Wood Jr., he's just like such a scrappy guy who wants to make like the best films ever, but everything just goes against him. He's not really great at writing or directing. He's very sloppy in every aspect.
He has the most like shoddy directing skills ever. Like it's like, oh, okay, action, cut, we got it.
Cut, print, moving on.
We got it.
Don't you want to get another take? No, it was perfect. The police. We don't have a permit. Everybody run.
You know what I love is that this movie doesn't feel like it's mocking Ed Wood.
No,
it's celebrating him. It's a love letter to just how passionate but also delusional he was at the same time.
Yeah.
Like he's like, I love films, I love filmmaking, but it's like, but logistics, Ed. You need to understand logistics. Yeah. If only you can understand that, you could have made something you could have not made Plan 9 from Outer Space.
This is the
or
one
Glenn or Glenda or
this is the one I'll be remembered for.
He said that about every film.
Exactly.
Okay. And there's so many like little cameos and appearances of so many actors in this movie.
Yeah, no, the cast
crazy.
is stacked. Like even Bill Murray shows up as like
right.
this guy is like I want to say I want to be a woman. Goodbye, penis. Or the scene where he gets baptized and he's just like laying back. He's like, do you take God as your savior? Sure. Why did you get the entire cast and crew to get baptized for a monster movie? It's not a monster movie. It's a supernatural thriller.
And who played Orson Welles?
Yeah,
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh, right.
But he was dubbed by Maurice LaMarche, Brain from Pinky and the Brain, because like Vincent just couldn't nail the Orson voice much as well as Maurice LaMarche. He's the best guy who can imitate Orson Welles.
Who played Bela Lugosi again?
Martin Landau.
Martin Landau. He does such. It's like
it's
him.
Transformative.
It's crazy.
Martin Landau probably gives my favorite performance in the whole movie.
Oh my god!
He earned that Oscar.
Damn.
Yeah. I mean, it was a small little movie, and like, a little niche too. Not exactly a wide. Like Ed Wood didn't really have the biggest cult following at this time. He was known. He was considered like the worst director of all time. But like, I think this film like really exposed a lot of his work, and now he's kind of like a huge cult classic in the bad movie genre.
I like how this movie kind of spawned a little subgenre with like movies like The Disaster Artist and Dolomite Is My Name.
That was written by the same guys who made this.
Yeah. There's like a little like subgenre for like, let's celebrate bad filmmakers and just show like their heart was in the right place, but like they just did not know how to make movies.
Well, it's entertaining,
yeah. Because there's a lot of like humor that comes out of it, but Ed Wood even himself, just seeing how he's kind of like that struggling guy, but he's like rebellious. Like it's something you can attach onto. Like it's relatable.
Like the desperation, but also like the blind optimism that he always imbues. I'd say this is probably my favorite Tim Burton film.
Yeah.
Like it's the one I would definitely watch any day of the week. It's not his most stylish. It's not really like Beetlejuice or anything where it's like, oh, this is totally his baby. But I feel it's one where it's like, I think all the pieces fit perfectly.
It's definitely the one that feels the most grounded in a world you believe could exist.
It has some flourishes of style. Like that opening sequence that just like has all the tributes of Ed Wood's style. Yeah. I love that opening a lot.
I think early Tim Burton is at its best because you realize, holy shit, this guy, even though he has a style, it feels kind of versatile at the same time. Like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Batman, Edward Scissorhands. They all feel kind of like not the same movie.
Yeah.
But then now today we're like, yeah, that looks very Tim Burton-y. Yeah, it's very strange.
It's kind of wallpaper now.
Yeah.
I do want to see that new Wednesday show.
Yeah, Netflix, right? Yeah.
Jenna Ortega is Wednesday.
Christina Ricci makes a cameo in it. I was like, hey, I appreciate that.
I know you.
Yeah.
Veronica was like, we were watching that trailer, and she's like, well, why'd you cheer when you saw that random woman? It's not a random woman, that's Christina fucking Ricci.
You could have just nicknamed it Last Wednesday.
Last Wednesday.
Alright, why don't we just get into the guy who literally stole the fucking year, and that is Jim Carrey.
Hey!
Oh, yeah.
His fucking year. He is I've established before, he's my comedic idol. I love this guy. And this year, he just fucking owned it.
Fellow Canadian, too, so the pride's even bigger.
You got, early that year, you had Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Which is a movie I'm not too crazy about, if I'm being completely honest.
It's a very eccentric, memorable character, and I appreciate the effort on that, but there's just a lot of jokes in this movie that does not hold up at all.
If we're gonna
Fingal is Einhorn.
Okay. Yeah, the transphobia stuff does not. It ages like fucking milk.
Oh, and then there's also the scene where he talks with his butt cheeks.
Oh, that's classic. That'll stand the test of time.
That's
excuse me, I need to ask you a few questions.
Do you have a mint?
There's so many great parts.
I can't believe this is Courtney Cox's first appearance.
Right. Well, no, literally 3 months before the pilot for Friends.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Friends started in '94, in the spring of '94.
Oh, so we gotta talk. I guess we'll let Lyle talk about that event after Jim Carrey.
How about no?
How about no? That we won't talk about Friends. That's too big of a juggernaut. But then
and Rocco will probably have his head for talking about it without.
And then later on that summer, The Mask. Like what?
Can I talk about The Mask?
Talk about The Mask, of course.
The Mask. I know, like. If Jim Carrey had like a holy trinity of sorts, which, by the way, I have yet to see a single comedian pull something like that off in a single year, ever. Like, I've never seen that before. Not even Adam Sandler. Like, I mean, okay, actually, in 2011, that was the one year where Adam Sandler came out with multiple movies. It was his worst year yet. Like, just go with it. Jack and Jill. No, Jim Carrey in 1994.
Jim Carrey's better.
We agree.
Oh my god.
I had seen Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber before this year, but this year was the first time I actually sat down and watched The Mask at my friend Joyce's apartment, and it was like, this just slaps.
Yeah.
Like
it's a great
it's not bad.
It's a great hero's journey, kind of like, you know, the down on his luck guy, but then it has like it takes its like stakes seriously with, like, you know, the mob guys. I forget his name. He's the guy that plays Zed from Pulp Fiction, actually.
Big year for him too.
Yeah, big year for him. He plays a villain. You got the beautiful Cameron Diaz. Her first role, she was like 19 or something like that. Like holy shit, she's like 20 or something like that. I personally believe this is Jim Carrey. This is my favorite performance from Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, this is saying a lot. I mean, Truman Show.
In his entire filmography.
He does the perfect right amount of like seriousness and also zaniness.
Yeah.
Like, if you really take a step back, then that's the two things that he's like perfected. You can take one or the other, like the Truman Show, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, or something like Liar, The Grinch, or Ace Ventura. Yeah. But like here, he combines the two sometimes, where he can go back from Stanley Ipkiss to being The Mask, and like this is kind of homage to Looney Tunes, and you know, and it's great.
Like the cartoons of the 50s.
Yeah, because that's what his character, like, you know, admired so much. So that's your deepest. When you put on the mask, that's your deepest, darkest desires come to life.
It was made at a really crucial time in like family film. Would you consider this a family film or just a film?
See, that's the interesting thing, because this film is directed by Chuck Russell, who did the remake of The Blob and Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors.
Wow.
So it has like kind of like a nightmare horror element. I mean, the lighting, when I saw the lighting at night in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and The Blob, I was like, oh, this feels so like The Mask. And Lord and behold, I look it up, it's the same guy. You know but what's funny is that this film has dark moments that I don't know it'd be very enticing.
It's kind of uncomfortable to watch.
It's enticing to watch. As a kid, I loved the first time he put on that mask, and it's all like, and he's just like scraping his nails on the mask and he's spinning out of control. And then it's just hilarious when it's just like smoking him with the teeth and the I piss off Veronica all the time when I do this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just zany masterpiece. I fucking love this movie.
I've only seen it once.
Oh, it's okay.
I've seen it once too.
And I find it a little
But
creepy,
I loved it. Like this movie, it's like it's a good time. It's crazy. It's rich in like atmosphere and themes. I just like
one of the first Marvel films, or
no.
Is this Marvel?
No.
Oh, I thought this was Marvel.
Not even. No.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking of something like Howard the Duck. That was Marvel.
Oh, okay. I thought this was Marvel.
Hey, go check out for a full repertoire of the Marvel's entire like film library of every single character of theirs that's been adapted into something. Go check out, so to speak, Marvel Madness with Michael Lake. Martin Scorsese hates that episode. That one got dislike. That was Martin Scorsese.
And now to cap off the trinity of Jim Carrey in 1994, we of course need to talk about Dumb and Dumber.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Possibly, I mean, you and I, Lyle, we talked before about like the favorite comedy of all time is like The Big Lebowski or something like that.
Well,
like, has there ever been a movie that is funnier than fucking Dumb and Dumber?
Oh man, I mean, there's contenders, but this is one I always watch a lot whenever I need a laugh.
Oh my god, laugh per second, not minute. Yeah. Laugh per second. I notice something every time I watch this movie, and I know this movie off by heart. Yeah. Literally line for line. I'm not kidding.
Talking about a place called Aspen.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know,
Lloyd. The French are assholes. That's not even. Just one.
The last time I watched it, actually, just like maybe 2 months ago, when they get to Aspen, and Lloyd was like, "Oh, I can't wait for Mary to take us in. She's gonna be so happy when I give her the briefcase. She'll invite us in for tea and strumpets." Now, I didn't know what this was, but he meant to say tea and crumpets, which was an old way of saying like biscuits. Strumpets are. Is a 17th century term for prostitutes.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about that, but it's so subtle.
I just flashed back to like English class, and the word strumpet came up in a couple Shakespearean plays. I think Othello, Taming of the Shrew, possibly Romeo and Juliet, but yeah. I remember learning that word in English class. I'm like, you're right.
I mean, as a kid, like, obviously Jim Carrey is like the standout. He's just, my God, just absolutely chewing the scenery and just in the best way possible. But as an adult, fucking Jeff Daniels is so great in this fucking movie.
It was a big risk for him, too, because he was kind of relatively new.
Yeah.
And, like, he wasn't really a big star yet, so it's just, like, his agent kept, like, forcing him to, like, don't work on this movie. It's going to ruin your career.
His agent was like, are you trying to, like, ruin yourself?
Because you'll be typecast for the rest of the time as an idiot.
He would literally, like, he looks like it, too. Like, before every take, before the Farrelly Brothers said action, he would just, like, mess up his hair, shake his head really fast, smack himself in the face just to get any sort of intelligence.
He looks like one of the Three Stooges.
And then he'd be like, all right, action. That's why he just looks all like, oh, fuck, like... I love it. I love it.
You know, it's like if you think Jeff Daniels, like, if his career is at risk, it's like if you've ever seen Biodome, I think you know what the producer was saying. Poor Stephen Baldwin.
Oh, Jesus.
Because after he did Biodome, his career was never, like, the same again.
Yeah. That was an example of, like buddy comedy going zany that just did not turn out well at all.
They really want to do a Dumb and Dumber, and they failed miserably.
One of the funniest fun facts that I love that I learned from this movie is that after the premiere of Dumb and Dumber, Jeff Daniels was approached by Clint Eastwood, and Clint Eastwood said, "So Jeff, I saw Dumb and Dumber the other day, and I have to say that toilet scene." He's like, "I have to say, back in the 50s when I had this date, I went to her house." And I used her bathroom, and I found out that the toilet didn't work after using it for about a half an hour. And I have to say, that was the funniest thing I've ever seen in any movie ever.
I just see him, like, looking angry.
Just flat face.
Like, Jeff Daniels was just like, oh my God, like, my heart is sinking. He's talking about the toilet scene. He's going to say that was the stupidest thing ever. But, like, and it's my idol, too, acting idol. Yeah. And he was so relieved, and he's like, my God, I clearly made a great film.
Yeah. Do you know that, one of you guys was telling a story about how like there's this director who deeply admired Stanley Kubrick or no Alfred Hitchcock or. So
one of them. Yeah.
So like, and apparently like it was like it would have been a dream come true for like Alfred Hitchcock to see like one of their movies, and then they actually did when he. I think it was Martin Scorsese who looked up to Alfred Hitchcock, and Alfred Hitchcock actually saw one of his first movies, and he was shaking the whole time. He thought Alfred Hitchcock, because Alfred Hitchcock didn't say a word, he just left right at the end of the movie and didn't say anything. But he was like, okay, I'm so scared that this guy hated my movies. No, it was Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks like made a movie. I don't know. It was either I can't remember like which movie it was, but like he was a big Alfred Hitchcock fan, and to have Hitchcock see one of his movies would have been a dream come true. Alfred Hitchcock got up, left the theater, and Brooks was genuinely heartbroken to see that. But he later got a letter from Hitchcock saying, No, I really enjoyed that movie.
Enjoyed it.
Like I enjoyed it. Like it was hilarious.
It was a good evening.
Because apparently, like Alfred Hitchcock was completely poker faced when he watches anything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's always like that.
What is the funniest scene in Dumb and Dumber for you guys? It'll get you every time, anytime.
My memory of this movie is actually like kind of vague because just like Lyle and the Mask, I've only seen it once.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, there isn't really like.
There's not a scene that jumps out.
No.
What about
you? I mean, like the toilet scene is ironically like it's a gross scene, but it's the only one I remember.
Mm-hmm.
So like I hate to say it, but just like Clint Eastwood, it's funny too. Like I laugh but that scene stresses me the fuck.
That was my favorite fucking scene. This is hard.
Yeah. It is very hard.
There's so many good ones. I like the one where like they're in the diner and he throws the salt and hits like
Seabass.
See, I almost said
kick his ass, Seabass.
Kick his ass, Seabass. Hey, you gonna finish that? No, I don't know. And then what they do is they just charge everything on Seabass's tab without Seabass knowing. And they fuck off.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like, how'd you pull a stunt like that, Lloyd? Oh, I saw this movie where these two guys did this. And, then the other guy caught up to them and killed them halfway down the road.
Which is
funny.
Was
a really good one.
Which is funny. Do you know what movie he's referring to?
Something Wild.
Something Wild, which has Jeff Daniels in it.
I know.
Yeah.
I wonder if Jeff Daniels, like, read the script and like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You saw that movie. Oh, my God.
For me, it's near the end where, after, like, Mary supposedly stood up Lloyd at the diner, or at the bar, and he goes back and talks to Harry about it, but, like, he knows that Harry was off having, like, a nice day with Mary.
He caught her in
the
act,
And, Lloyd's just like, I don't know, maybe she just had a change of heart. I mean, I was there at 10 in the morning waiting for her, and then after, Harry's like, wait a minute, what if she meant 10 o'clock at night? Why would she meet you at a bar at 10 in the morning? And Lloyd's like, I don't know, I just thought she was a raging alcoholic. That line gets me every time.
No. Now I remember my favorite scene. It's the scene where Lloyd really has to pee.
Oh my god. It's
actually directly after the one I just mentioned. So
Harold Williams. The fucking cop.
Harlan Williams.
Harlan? Oh, Harold. It's pronounced. I thought it was pronounced Harold.
No. I have him on Instagram, so it's Harlan Williams.
Oh my god.
Half baked and Fred got fingered. Oh, there we go.
You guys doing a bit of boozing, sucking back on
Grandpa's old medicine. You'd shut your mouth if you knew what was good for you.
You pumpkin pie haircutted freak. Drinking piss.
Get the hell out of here.
So great. Oh, and Lloyd's fucking, like, dream fantasy sequence. Oh, my God. The first time I saw this movie as a kid, like, I was on the floor laughing in tears at, like, the lighting the fart thing. Like, oh, my God. I'm not kidding. That was probably one of the hardest I've ever laughed in my entire life. I'm not kidding.
Really good soundtrack too, just like a whole lot of rock and grunge. It's great. I love the bit when they're like having like an all-nighter drive. It's like take a picture, and Harry's like slapping his face to the beat of the music.
Way too fast.
Oh yeah, Crash.
You're gonna crash.
Or like Crash Test Dummies, like oh.
Or the wind my ladies.
Yeah, that's great. Just excellent. All those songs stick with me, and anytime I hear them, I always think of like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I don't want to do the most annoying sound in the world because I don't want to blow.
Fuck, that's the best
no.
sound in the movie.
My beautiful audience doesn't deserve to get their ears blown out. I can't do that.
Okay, what about mock?
Ing. Yeah.
Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mockingbird. Oh, everybody, have you heard? She's gonna buy me a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, she's gonna buy me a diamond ring.
And that diamond ring. Hey, look, there's some hitchhikers.
Hey, pick him up.
I love how you don't want to subject the audience to a blown speaker, but
I still do it. Yeah, I do it very slowly. Well, I think Evan was about to be what's his name? Mental. He's the guy. Mental.
Mendel, yeah.
Mendel, yeah. Mental, yeah. The guy sitting in between them. He's just like, all right, that's it. I'm taking out my gun. And then no.
He's gonna kill me.
He hit a breaking point.
Kind of flawed plan, but alright.
I'm not gonna kill you. You guys are too entertaining.
Oh. No, this is...
Who needs a radio?
Oh my god, this is like one of the funniest movies. I think we indulged too much.
We indulged, right? It's easily my favorite.
Isn't it amazing how, the Farrelly brothers went on to direct a movie that caused you to quit watching the Oscars for a few years?
That was not so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, that movie wasn't... I mean, it was injected with humor.
No, I mean, it wasn't so funny for Cody to watch that happen.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Yeah, no, Dumb and Dumber is definitely my favorite of the trifecta, easily.
It's definitely funnier than The Mask. I just think Mask is like the better film all around.
I mean, technically, I guess.
Yeah.
But you laugh more watching Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
What about you, Lyle? What do you got next?
Oh yes, we were talking about Adam Sandler earlier. There's one film that he made with the talents of Brendan Fraser and Steve Buscemi.
The Lone Rangers. Oh my god.
What an interesting combination of talent.
Probably one of the grungiest movies ever. Yeah. And I kind of like it. I saw it actually this year, and it was fun.
What do you get when you take Die Hard and cross it with Wayne's World?
Exactly.
You get Airheads. And funny enough, the Nakatomi Plaza is that the movie was shot at the Nakatomi Plaza right across the street.
Oh wow!
Because they're both Fox properties, so it made sense for them to film the radio station at this one place. Okay. Because literally right in the background the whole time is the fucking Nakatomi Plaza.
I like the part where Harold Ramis shows up and they're testing him. It's like, who is God? Yeah. Or what is Lemmy or something?
Oh yeah. I forget what he's posing. He's an undercover cop and he's posing as a record producer, and they're not buying it. They're asking rock detail questions when Van Halen split, whose side did you take? Lemmy or is that not Lemmy? Sorry, David Lee Roth or the band? He's like Van Halen. And they're like, hey, he's a cop. Get him out of here. And then after okay, we'll do another question. Who would win in a wrestling match, Lemmy or God? And he's like, Lemmy. No, God. And they're like, no, it's a trick question. Lemmy is a god. And literally Lemmy makes a cameo maybe 30 seconds later. Yeah. It's funny.
And Chris Farley plays a cop.
Yeah, a lot of people make cameos. Michael McKean, is that his name?
Michael McKean?
McKean, yeah. This is Spinal Tap. He plays Chuck in Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's the head. So it's Joe Montana, David Arquette.
Yeah.
Chris Farley.
Kramer from Seinfeld.
Michael Richards. Yeah, so many people make little pop-ups in this.
Yeah, it's great.
This is Adam Sandler literally has the funniest line in the whole fucking movie. He tries to get out of the police station, and then a cop is mimicking his movement, and the cop is actually played by his buddy Alan Covert. Yeah. Who they would later on to make tons of money being pandering fucking studio of Happy Madison, but he runs back in the studio and he runs back in the station and he just goes, I don't want to go to jail, I'm fragile. What did you think of this movie, Evan?
I've only seen little snippets of it. I haven't seen the whole movie in entirety, so I'll but it looks intriguing.
The Lone Rangers, that's nice. Their band.
I'm just intrigued.
How do you pluralize the Lone Rangers? Yeah, I've seen this movie a little too many times, actually.
Okay, fair enough.
It's just
I've seen it once.
I've seen it once. I don't have a whole lot to say. I just felt like shouting it out.
Oh, totally, yeah.
You recommended it to me, and I liked it.
Yeah. What do you got, Evan? 1994.
Okay, so before... I just have a question. Well, I'm sorry to single Lyle out, but Cody, do you have any memories from this year? Because you and I were alive during this year, so.
I was one.
It's just it's a serious question. Like, anything you remember? Like, any snippets?
Not at all. But
okay.
I know where you're going with this, and I'm happy you're bringing it up.
Okay, so, I remember what the weather looked like. What the weather was like. It was sunny. Can't really remember if there was a cloud in the sky. Maybe, like, a single, like, flake or something. But, so my mom and dad take me to a movie theater in, the industrial sector of Richmond Hill. I mean, kind of that movie theater, interestingly enough, is still there today, but they don't play like typical Hollywood movies anymore. It's all indie and foreign films.
Oh, cool.
But the movie theater, which I had this experience, is still there. So I'd never been to a movie theater before, but my parents take me in, and I don't really know what's going on. The room goes dark until
Oh, here we go. I love it.
Sorry, Lyle.
He played last night.
Yeah. Hey, all our ears should be shot, but.
Here we go.
Yeah, I can just project.
The Lion King.
Okay. Yes.
The Lion King. I love it.
The Lion King. Probably okay. A lot of people consider this. If people say that like Beauty and the Beast is the quintessential perfect Disney movie, then a lot of people regard The Lion King as the magnum opus of Disney because
it is.
It was the first. It was the first Disney film to become the highest grossing animated film of all time. Like and
boy did it pay off because just the animation in this film is outstanding. Definition of outstanding.
But what's so mind-boggling to me about the animation is back in the Renaissance era Disney was like on top of the shit heap. They wanted Pocahontas to be the big movie that would rake in all the dollars and like get the audience. And like the animation in Pocahontas was done by Disney's A-Team. And The Lion King was like, yeah, make this if you want to, but it's gonna...
They're putting more of their chips on fucking the Pocahontas, and then, oh my god.
The Lion King is the better looking and better sounding movie.
The sound design and just the timing of everything, man. Like, not only just the stellar animation, but, like, the combination of, like, Hans Zimmer's incredible score.
Yeah.
And just every movement, it feels like everything worked together like every movement of every character had like like music incorporated into it. Like there was just like this very like fascinating way, and now today with our generation it's really just like nostalgia, and it brings us back, and this movie just ages like fine wine.
It also, like, I would argue it broke new ground. It pushed the boundaries of it because Disney, in terms of 2D animation and incorporating it with 3-dimensional looking images, like Disney was all constantly pushing the boundaries. Case in point, the Stampede sequence.
Oh my god, that is incredible.
Our generation takes it for granted today, but I will never forget, like, because I remember listening to like the history behind the Lion King, and that scene took a couple years to animate.
Yeah.
That one scene took a couple years to animate.
Oh, I can imagine.
And I remember, like, the effect it achieved was desired, because when I saw it in the theater, I remember the seat I was in actually shook from vibration, and I was legitimately terrified for what I was watching.
You're 2. Oh my god.
I was 2, yeah.
Dude, that's you touched upon this when we talked about Mulan, but that is such an incredible.
Yeah.
I can't even like that. That has to stick with you for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That's incredible. What's your favorite scenes from the movie? What would you say?
I like the part where Timon and Pumbaa showed up.
I thought you were saying Akuna and Matata.
Akuna and Matata. Well, pretty much.
Akuna and Matata.
He may as well,
Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Or, as I said on the last show, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern of The Lion King.
Favorite song, actually? That's a good question.
Akuna and Matata.
I mean, the whole movie is great, but like, that's your favorite song?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
When I was growing up. Yeah.
Circle of Life is like knocks it out of the park, and that's the first song in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Be Prepared.
Be Prepared is probably my favorite.
Can You Feel the Love Tonight? I actually have a bit of a soft spot for.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite scene. One scene that, as I got older, I was just glued to it every time. The scene where Simba actually battles Scar, and it's in slow motion, and Hans Zimmer just cranks the score up to 11, and it's like,
what's the part that brings a tear to my eye? It's not, of course, the Mufasa death scenes, of course, effective and incredible. And
I think we'll get to that in a later, so to speak, episode.
Yes, okay. But it's really the scene at the end where it is time, and Simba's just walking up the Pride Rock, and that music fucking just swells. Oh my god. It literally brings a tear to my eye every time. Okay. It's so incredible.
Fun fact.
Sorry to cut you off, but I was just going to say The Lion King is so cinematic for its own good. It's too cinematic. Yeah. The score, the kind of
the voice acting.
The voice acting, the hero's journey that's even in the I love the arc of Simba.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It's all it is it's literally isn't it just Macbeth?
I mean,
Hamlet. Fuck's sakes.
Oh, I did it again.
We did it.
I did it again. Yeah. I did it again. Oh my god. Hamlet. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You watch Renaissance Man.
Yeah.
But you know what Hamlet is? They talk about it for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's literally the plot of the movie. In terms of I just did Renaissance Man also come out in 94?
No.
96.
Oh right, yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry, I forgot about that. But yeah, so going back to The Lion King, do you know what scene? Like, obviously Mufasa's death, that was a very difficult scene to watch. But today, now that I'm an adult and as someone who the phase in life where you see your parents every day is gone now. Certain scenes just hit differently for you.
Oh, totally.
Case in point, remember who you are. You are my son and the one true king. My dad, he's still with us. He's in good shape. But we both at a point in our lives where I realized that he is up there in age, and this year actually kind of hit me. There were a couple celebrity deaths this year that people my dad's age and younger than him, Ray Liotta was younger than my dad, and Robbie Coltrane is much the same age as my dad. And it's I kind of it puts all that into perspective, and it's when I think of that scene, it's it hits differently now.
When did you first watch this movie, Lyle?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Probably when I was 5, I guess.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah. It's not one I watched very often though.
Yeah.
I didn't own it, but I watched it a lot. I rented it a lot, and I believe later on we might have taped bits and pieces of it growing up. That's just our 90s thing that we did a lot. It was taping.
Well, Disney, and you know what's crazy? This was peak Disney because it was debatably years before another movie hit the same notes with its animation and themes.
Tarzan, or
no, arguably Hunchback of Notre Dame. Was the one that brought the audience back because
cinematic and all that.
Pocahontas came out in
95, yeah,
and then Hunchback came out in 96, and
kind of brought people back a bit.
Yeah, and then Hercules. Hercules is still fun, but it didn't have Hercules.
We talked about that before. There's a very weird ebb and flow with all these in the Renaissance.
The Lion. Okay, so if you think of I think of the Disney Renaissance era as a roller coaster.
It is, yeah.
The Little Mermaid.
Oh, we don't need to go through it. We don't need to go through it. Yeah. Let's not go through that. Yeah. But okay, I'll say this, and we'll move on. Yeah. The one scene in this movie that resonates with all of us, and this didn't. I love how, at least from my perspective, I don't know if you guys shared the same situation, the same experience as me, but this was before video, internet essays and people discussing so much about the themes of movies and all that. I love the fact that it took a while for that Rafiki scene to really click and really this is a great lesson for life and for kids of just if something hurts, it doesn't matter, it's in the past, and even if it does hurt, you can either run from it or learn from it. That scene just keeps getting better and better with me, and then eventually when you start talking to people about The Lion King, we all universally say that that scene is really the one that resonates with us the most, and people sharing the quote and scene online through still and images. I just really
a lot of gurus have taken that scene on,
right? It just has so much meaning to it, and it's such a great way to get through life and all that. And and it's such a great thing that the fucking remake had to cut that scene out, but we won't get into that.
Damn you, John!
YMS had to do that for us.
What are you doing, John? Sorry. Before we move on?
Yeah.
From The Lion King, I just want to say one last thing.
Yeah.
In terms of real life, like, so when I was writing my best man speech for Josh and Marnie's wedding, I wanted to end it with, like, a quote that, like, meant something. And the quote, the original, in, like, an early draft of my speech, very little of my speech changed. I added things, like, right up until the wedding day, I was actually adding things to it. Like, the day of the wedding, I added the opening line about Josh being my oldest friend and one of my closest. But the thing is, like, initially, my speech didn't end with a quote from The Lion King, because you guys were there, you guys remember it, right? So, like, I ended his speech saying, as Rafiki told Simba when he ascended to the throne, "It is time." It took me a while to get there, but initially, the quote I went with was actually a quote from another 94 movie, and I just kind of wrote it, I'm like, it's nice, but then when I realized the context of the quote, I'm like, that's a very sad quote, and I don't want their marriage to start like that. So I'm gonna pick something else. And for a while, I was stumped. I'm like, what else can I do?
Are you saving that movie for when we talk about it?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
But whenever you guys want to segue into that, sure. Maybe we could segue now.
Well, let's have Lyle. What do you got?
But the point is,
okay.
But there isn't much else to say other than I put in that quote, and I also I can't remember. There were so many details about the wedding to keep track of, but I forgot. But when their first dance was to a rendition of "Can You Feel the Love Tonight," it all kind of made sense. Like my speech ended with a Lion King quote, and they danced to "Can You Feel the Love Tonight."
That's perfect. Yeah.
So that was great. So
Lion King is my favorite.
It's a great movie.
It's great.
Probably one of, if not my all-time favorite animated movie.
Yeah.
One of them. Like, it's so hard to pick an all-time favorite in most cases, but I'll get to that too later.
How poetic! We went from Mulan to this.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, Lyle. What do you got?
I'll give a shout out for two documentaries that came out this year that
sure.
are highly revered.
Yeah.
Hoop Dreams and Crumb.
Yeah.
Hoop Dreams follows
basketball, right?
Yeah, the basketball one. So it's basically it's a long-standing, like, multiple-year documentary that basically displays how these two kids have, like, the opportunity to really become pros at basketball, and it follows, like, how they dream about being in the NBA, and they come from pretty rough backgrounds, and it just shows the amount of, like, obstacles that go through that come in their path. Mostly.
You seen it?
I've watched a little bit of it. It's rather long. It's like 174 minutes. I'm not really, like, the biggest basketball guy, but it's highly revered. It's, like, one of the highest, like, rated things on here.
This movie came to my attention through Roger Ebert. He said that this was the best film of the 1990s. Yeah. He said number 2 was Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then later on, after Roger Ebert passed away, that same director as Hoop Dreams did the documentary on Roger Ebert called Life Itself.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah, very nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I would say it's definitely worth to watch if you're into, like, sports documentaries or stuff like that. It's not really my kind of bag, but one that is my bag is definitely Crumb. This is about the work and, like, influence of Robert Crumb, who was an underground comic book artist and writer. He created things like Fritz the Cat and Keep on Truckin'.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
like, yeah, he's very underground. He's very, like, anti-establishment, very counterculture, and a lot of his work is, like, kind of critically, like, acclaimed, but also, like, controversial. So it's like you get into his mindset. He, like, talks to me. He's a very interesting fellow. He talks about things like, you know, I used to be kind of turned on every time Bugs Bunny dressed like a lady, and then I couldn't stop drawing him as a her.
Okay, so what you're saying is he had this problem, and it's not that big of a deal. I guess something like 8% of kids do it, but...
Oh, Terry Zogwart.
Yeah, it's a Terry Zwigoff joint.
Okay.
The guy who made Ghost World and Bad Santa, two of my favorite movies. Yeah, no, this is a really... it's a very smooth documentary. It just goes by so quick.
Okay. And
you can tell Terry Zwigoff had, like, a really deep passion for, like, this kind of, like, this kind of niche audience kind of thing. And, it has a lot of, like, I don't know, just if you ever wanted to learn more about this guy, it's a really good documentary. It's a good gateway into underground comics. So no, I really enjoyed Crumb a lot. Thanks to the Criterion channel, Criterion Collection, I knew about both these documentaries.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I still have Crumb. Or maybe I gave it away. I don't know. I probably gave it away. But yeah, I just want to give a shout out to some documentaries that came out this year.
All right.
That's awesome.
I got two. Okay, I got two that I can just quickly bring up that kind of mean a lot to me.
We're kind of building up to the main three, right?
Yeah, totally.
So shout out time.
Totally. Yeah, there's some runner-ups that it will take like a couple of seconds. But one of my first movies I ever watched in my life was The Little Rascals.
Oh, yes.
And I never seen the old classics Little Rascals. I still haven't, even to this day.
I have.
But there's something about the Penelope Spheris, like, kind of like, retro throwback, kind of modern take on the Little Rascals. I got a kick out of. I love watching kid ensemble films. I got a soft spot for that.
No,
we know you do.
I got a movie idea for one of them.
I've seen this movie twice, and it's actually like it's very witty, it's very heartfelt.
Someone at work once asked, "Hey, what's the Little Rascals about?" I went, "Well, it's about this like cult of boys that are misogynistic, and when they find out that one of their members are portraying the club,
one of their members is dating someone,
is dating someone,
a girl.
They not only banish him, but they blame him on burning down their clubhouse. So they tell him, you have to be the one to guard our go-kart for the rest of eternity and never to see your girl ever again." And then I went, "Oh, by the way, they're also kids." And he just had like the biggest what the fuck? I have to watch this now.
There you go.
But it's a bit silly and kind of cartoony. The tone's all over the place, kind of stuff.
Can we just talk about the dynamic? One of the scenes that stands out to me is the big the second act low point between Spanky and Alfalfa, where it's like they both realize that, oh, we've been mean to each other, and they go to each other's houses to make up. I love how Spanky goes to Alfalfa's house, and Alfalfa's dad
has the same.
Sorry, Spanky, Alfalfa's not here. And then Alfalfa goes to Spanky's house, and Spanky's like, "Sorry, Alfalfa, Spanky's not here."
If I'm not mistaken, I believe those parents are played by the originals of the Little Rascals.
Oh yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So Mo Sislak didn't kill the original Alfalfa.
I could be wrong about that, but I don't. I know that they make cameos in the movie. So, speaking of cameos, you got Whoopi Goldberg, George Wendt, Leah Thompson, Mel Brooks, and Donald Trump.
He fucking would be the bully character's dad.
His line is, "Waldo, you're the best son money could buy."
You're the best son money can buy.
Do you know what? I think we threw on that scene while Trump was president, and do you know what my reaction? I think I got this on video. It's like, "Oh my god, that phone he's using is huge."
Oh my god! I think the two that deserved a spinoff was fucking Porky and Buckwheat.
Yeah.
My god!
I got a pickle. I got a dollar.
No. I got two pickles. I got two pickles today. Hey. And then of course I've been humming this. We got a dollar. We got a dollar. We got a dollar. Hey. So many hip hop artists have remixed that into They sampled that into their beat. So it's so great.
Can I just?
Sorry. There was one more movie that I wanted to bring up. There's one more shout out. Because I found. Before I went to film school, I found recordings of myself watching this film. And how transfixed I was. It was the Miracle on 34th Street remake.
With Richard Attenborough.
Yeah, Richard Attenborough, Mara Wilson. It was produced and written by John Hughes. This is a wonderful little Christmas movie. I always watch every year.
I have not seen the original or the remake of Miracle.
I saw the remake a lot when I was a kid. It kind of creeped me out.
Creeped you out?
I don't know, that scene where he gets assaulted by those two guys.
No, it's where he's getting confronted by the guy in the street and he knocks him out with the cane.
Yeah, that always freaked me out.
That wasn't...
Yeah, me too, actually. I mean, as a kid, those scenes always
kind of... They have to do that for the plot, because he has to go to trial, and you're not Santa Claus, you're just a crazy old man.
Hey, speaking of, he's not Santa Claus.
Oh, yeah! Well, no, sorry, that's a great segue, but I just wanted to just clear my point up, is that I saw video footage of myself as a 3-4-year-old of whatever, just transfixed on this one shot where, he gets the job at the mall, and it's, this really sweeping long shot of, him admiring how beautiful it's a beautiful looking toy store with Christmas and stuff.
That was the Macy's on 34th Street. And
right. Yeah.
It's a real place. As someone who has been to New York at Christmas time several times throughout life, when Christmas season starts in New York at around mid-November, and it is a fantasy land. The
Yeah.
whole island of Manhattan, or at least the central Midtown Manhattan, is just a fantasy land. Every department store is decorated to the max. Like the Macy's in which this story takes place is actually, like, I've been there. It's really really pretty. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, I was so transfixed into that scene that I was like, look, I've always had the curiosity, the spark of filmmaking. Like, I wasn't fidgety. I was literally just staring at the screen, not even moving.
Yeah.
Like, not even blinking.
Yeah.
I was happy someone was recording that. It was like, very quickly.
There is no place on earth at Christmas time quite like New York City at Christmas time.
I can imagine. Yeah. The scene, there's that scene in that movie really shows, like, how glossy and beautiful. Yeah. Even the one scene in the movie where they go out at night and it's playing, like, a romantic kind of, I think it's probably Kenny G, but it's like a romantic, it's a romantic saxophone version of Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. And it's such a nice feeling, a nice little tone, little moment in the movie that it's a very nice, warm Christmas movie that I always watch, like, probably every year or every other year.
Yeah.
It's a little underrated gem. But Santa Claus... The Santa Claus.
Okay, it put it on the suit entering to say the wearer of the suit accepts the duties and responsibility of Santa Claus, yada yada yada, until the owner cannot, until such by accident or design. Now,
so the short story of that, when you put on the suit, you're the big guy.
That's ridiculous. I'm gonna try to understand this.
So this movie actually, like, filled in the gaps of my curiosity about Santa. When I was asking those questions, like, well, what if there's some houses that don't have Christmas trees? What happens? It's like, oh, it just magically appears. Yeah. Like, how does he fit down these places? Oh, he just shrinks down. Like, this movie literally, like, answered all the things that I had in mind.
Do you know what one of my favorite scenes is? Where Judge Reinhold is grilling... Because, okay... I've said this before on, like, I don't know if we talked about the Santa Claus on, like, previous Christmas podcasts, but...
I mean, I mentioned it in Last Straw.
Right, yeah.
R.I.P.
Because, like, you love how Tim Allen, his go-to stuff that pays his bills is just Christmas stuff.
He's in a lot of Christmas movies.
He really is.
Coming out with a new show, The Santa Claus Is. Oh, my God.
Okay, and I'm not too... Is Juliet from Lost going to be
She is, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I might check it out. Because I loved the actress. Like, she was great in the sequel to Santa Claus 2, and I loved her in Lost, so I might check it out.
I just don't really love this movie.
The second movie's better, but we won't talk about the second movie too much. Okay. But the first movie, it's kind of dry sometimes.
It's a little dry, awkward, dated. Like the effects are really kind of like TV movie quality.
Okay.
Like Tim Allen really feels like every line that he's saying is literally just like some improv thing that was rejected from Home Improvement.
That's true.
Yeah.
I can see why people would have nostalgia for it.
It's not
totally, yeah.
This was one of the first Christmas movies I like watched repetitively, and one of the things I always liked about it was, like, when it begins, it doesn't even feel like something Disney would make. Because it starts off with, you know, some jerk at his Christmas party, and he has to go away from that to be with his kid, who he doesn't really have a good relationship with. But only it starts to feel like a family film when, like, the dream sequence happens, or is it a dream? And then the rest of the movie is just an adult coming to grips with the fact that he not only is Santa Claus real, but he is Santa Claus.
Yeah.
So it explores, like, the theme of, like, belief versus, like, reality, like, from the perspective of an adult, because it would have been too easy. Disney could have told this from the perspective of Charlie, and you would have had a half decent family film. But I like how they take what could have been a family film and they tell it from the perspective of an adult, because most family films are told from the perspective of kids.
That is true.
So
that is true. That's probably why it feels a bit dry and a bit like kind of like it is for adults.
Well,
the second movie's kind of like glosses it up a little bit more.
The second movie is very much told from the perspective of the kids.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a fine little Christmas movie. It's okay. Okay. Two more things, and then we'll get on to the three juggernauts, guys.
Okay.
The three juggernauts we have to do justice for.
Just very quickly, were there any bad movies? We're not going to go into too much detail, but
that'll take forever.
Were there any bad movies in 1994?
The Flintstones. You and I said at the same time. Yeah. The Flintstones is not really that great.
So they are. So when they tried to be a modern Stone Age family, it didn't work out so well.
Street Fighter the movie.
Oh.
Star Trek Generations.
Oh.
Junior. Baby's Day Out.
That wasn't so bad.
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Yeah. In the Army Now. That's like a Pauly Shore thing.
God.
Yeah.
But just two, three little
scam.
honorable mentionings. Well-made movies, Legends of the Fall.
Yes.
Great score. One of James Horner's greatest scores ever. It's a very well-made movie. And then Interview with the Vampire.
Oh yes.
You guys seen that?
No.
Very well made. Tom Cruise, yeah, and Brad Pitt. That's the movie that made them. They apparently had a feud. They're like, I'm not working. They're not working with each other ever again.
All right.
They had a feud on the set of this movie.
This was before the whole Scientology shit.
Oh, way before, yeah. Well, I think we stalled enough for the three juggernauts. Who would like to represent? Evan, let's talk. Please take away the redemption.
When the Academy Awards occurred to celebrate the films of 1994, there were three movies that all hold special places in our three beating hearts. As jaded as they may be on some days, we just have a soft spot for all three of these movies. Case in point, and all three of these were nominated for Best Picture, so they were all in competition with one another. But competition, nothing. These are all great. I don't
universally,
care I praise these movies on a universal level, and I hold them as equals. I don't consider the one that did win Best Picture to be superior or inferior to any of them. These three just exist in tandem, and I love it. So to kick things off, The Shawshank Redemption is the best movie I have ever seen in my life. And because up until I was 19, 20 years old, I genuinely couldn't tell you what my favorite movie was, because like I just like so many. And even then, like, I kind of suck at picking favorites. I just don't. I'm an eclectic guy. If something resonates with me, I like it. But there's something about Shawshank Redemption that just, every time I go back to it, it just resonates with me. And like, now at the point of my life that I'm in, like, you know, the scene where, you know, he crawls to freedom, which was in the fucking trailers. Like,
was it?
Yeah. Do you know that the people, Castle Rock and Warner Brothers, had no fucking clue how to promote this movie? So it's okay. Amazing movie, but the trailer gives away the whole goddamn thing.
Oh my god!
If you saw like the trailer, you would have been, and we were the same age we are now, you would have been pissed. You're like, I'm not saying it.
That.
You would have been like, oh my god, just give. Yeah, no, because Castle Rock had no clue.
I don't like trailers that show the whole movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Like,
I've noticed that a lot lately.
That's unbelievable.
Maybe it's a generational thing, because this movie, The Shawshank Redemption, actually bombed, and it was made because I'm very familiar with like the story of how this movie got made and what they went through to make it, and like where it was shot. It was shot at the Ohio State Penitentiary, and Stephen King gave the rights to a youngster named Frank Darabont to turn this movie into a feature film for $1, because Stephen King was he has the $1 program, and believe it or not, someone I went to film school actually took advantage of that, and Stephen King sent this person an authentic like check from his desk book, from his office, saying, yeah, here's the rights to make this story for $1. But,
so going back, you were saying that the tunnel scene kind of resonated with you?
Oh god, yeah, like the tunnel scene. Like, I'll tear up when I see that scene now.
Yeah,
because
the part that I love is the part where he's playing all the classical music for all the inmates.
Oh, that's also
like, he broke the rules, but he's just like, I'm doing it. Like, these people deserve to have a little bit of nice, like a nice, you know, feeling. You know,
and it's like, in a story about prison, like, you know who there's the good, there's the bad, and then there's the ugly. Case in point, like the good, you have Red and his friends, and then you have Boggs, and then you have the warden.
Yeah.
And Captain Hadley,
Clancy Brown.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fire. Hello, I like money.
It's fucking weird to know that guy would later be Krusty Mr. Krabs.
You were about to call him Krusty Krab.
Krusty Krabs. You know, like Bob Burgers.
What do you think of it, Lyle?
Oh, it's really good. I mean, yeah, I would say like it's one I could watch every so often and just get a lot out of it. It's a really hopeful story. It's very long, but you don't feel a runtime so much.
Oh, not at all.
It is. It's too... Okay, back in the day, it was abnormally long for a feature film, because feature films were typically an hour, 45 minutes. Today, the average runtime is 2 hours. Anything 2 hours or longer was considered long back then.
Likely the best Stephen King adaptation.
One of them.
Oh, it definitely is.
It's not even a horror film. It's just like a really strong drama.
And of course, the director Frank Darabont would later go on to make The Green Mile.
This is another one, yeah.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Do you know that the novella that this movie was based off of?
The title is long, right?
The title is Rita Hayworth in the Shawshank Redemption. Right. They dropped Rita Hayworth because they were worried that if we send this out to casting agents, then a bunch of people are going to audition for Rita Hayworth, even though she's not in the movie. And people thought it was a Rita Hayworth biopic. But despite the fact that they dropped the title, Stephen King fans who had read the novella, actually thought it was a Rita Hayworth biopic. And people auditioned for Rita Hayworth, even though she's not in the movie.
Right.
So, so many scenes that just... Oh, and let's not forget the drinking beers on the roof of the tire factory. Of the tire factory.
Yeah,
that's just glorious.
The chemistry between Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins is great. Yeah, like they really do share a great chemistry together.
Yeah. We could probably this could be its own pod talk episode. Like, we just gush over this movie. Like,
I mean, it's kind of a shame. Well, speaking of favorite film of all time, it's kind of a shame that Lyle and I have already discussed this movie before. But damn, would I do an old school pop talk episode on this next one?
Yeah. Before we move on,
let me
just once. I can't really think of much. I mean, there's so much to say. I
wish this would have won Best Picture.
I agree.
It's the most deserved.
I think this one should have won.
To hear you guys who
we'll save that one for very, very last because it's a nice one to go off on. Yeah. But
I have a thought about that I'll share.
Okay.
But the shot. Yeah, it's a very powerful story, and this is a movie where I typically when there's a second act low point in a movie, I typically just kind of I subdue my emotional investment, and I'm like, it's a screenwriter's tool, it won't last. No, the second act low point of this movie is legitimately crushing because one thing after another happens. And spoiler alert but I gave away how it ends. You guys know how it ends. If you've seen the trailer, you know how it fucking ends. But anyway,
my Veronica, it's a 30-year-old movie. I think everyone knows.
But hear me out. So the second act low point starts when Andy Dufresne here's the story. He thinks he might be innocent. Okay, the warden throws him in the brig because Andy Dufresne's too valuable. He gets the guy who knows the truth, blows him away, and threatens Andy, you're going to keep doing my taxes and laundering my money, or you will do the hardest time there is. And then
it's shady.
And the scene where the scene where he's in the yard talking to Red about Zihuatanejo, and the first time you see that, you legitimately think he's he's just gonna kill himself because he does ask for a rope, and they build it up to the point where it's this second act low point just sinks lower and lower and lower until you see that hole in the wall through the Raquel poster.
Yeah,
it's a great
shot. Oh my god, I'll never forget the moment I saw that. And by the way, what a
Thomas Newman's score.
Yep.
Oh man.
Oh my god. Love it. It's so good. Such a uplifting story. And know what's so funny, just to cap it all off, Veronica for the longest time thought it was a war film. She just thought for some reason it was a war film, and then finally I sat her down and showed her, and she loved the film, and now it's just been I like the war film.
It's just like Tim Robbins in No Man's Land, and all the rain's falling down on him in the trenches. That's what she thought.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. He took that shot out of context, and I don't know where this is.
It probably is the poster, yeah. But going back,
it's not a war film.
We talked about it before, Lyle.
But fuck yeah, we did for over an hour.
But can I say one thing?
Oh my god!
No, it's a quote.
You said that 5 minutes ago.
What's the quote?
Remember, guys.
What's the
quote?
Hope
Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. Now you may go.
All right, let's keep going.
Well, we technically already did a pop talk on this movie.
we did a whole Tarantino retrospective.
Pulp Fiction. My favorite film of all time.
Oh, hey, now I'm here. I get to tell you what I think of it.
What do you think of it?
It's okay. Who the fuck am I kidding? I love... The poster has sat on the wall of our apartment for 3.5 years, and there's just something so centering about looking into Mia Wallace's gaze.
Hell yeah.
It's...
Oh, yeah.
It's...
I say goddamn.
And,
goddamn.
I mean,
don't you just love it when
I'm
you
just
come
gonna
from
say,
the bathroom and your food's on the table?
As much as I love Shawshank, of all the movies from '94, this and The Lion King probably get quoted in meme culture the most.
Oh, totally.
Well, it's impressive. It's like the little movie that could. I mean, Tarantino got off the heels and his indie hit like Reservoir Dogs, and then he makes another kind of low budget crime film that has like his epic sweeping story.
Yeah. His film school was working at a video store.
Yeah, exactly. He has such a small, like, humble beginning, and he comes out on his sophomore film.
It wins a Palme d'Or, Cannes, fucking, oh my god, instant success. It changed movies, really. Pulp Fiction changed fucking films. Yeah. It was really a watershed movie. And just such an incredibly well-written film. The acting was incredible. It's witty. It's intense.
The stories that
are funny,
unpredictable. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Relatable.
Like, the stories that.
Well, I'm not a crook, but
no, but like the conversations they have, it's like Clerks. It's like
mundane. Yeah, exactly. It's very mundane.
With my friends.
Yeah.
Or at work.
The stories you think are seemingly unrelated all connect by the end.
Yep.
And
very subtly. Yeah.
Oh, one of my favorite.
You think about the timeline every single time you watch the movie.
Yeah, it's like. I love, Mr. Wallace, like, just walking down Marcellus Wallace walking down the street. Motherfucker!
Butch is like, I gotta fucking run this guy over. Yeah. No, how dare anybody try to re-edit this film? The movie is perfect the way that it is.
Have people tried and done that?
They've tried to do that, yeah.
Fuck's sake.
The way that... And Tarantino,
it's nothing sacred!
Tarantino wanted this to feel like a novel. He's always said, I've always wanted to take a novelistic, like, approach to my scripts. Like... He's like, if I would have wrote Pulp Fiction as a novel, people wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. Because novels tell stories any shape, way, or form. Flashback, tell this story, tell that story. So he's like, I want to do that, because, like, most movies are always linear. Yeah. It was game-changing.
I'm surprised Sally Menke didn't get a lot of recognition for this.
Oh, the editing is great.
It's just like,
so well cut. There's, like...
I love her.
There's so much unpredictability, but also, like... You like you said before, Lyle, you could just kind of relate to the mundane stuff, but there's just like unpredictable. The story-wise, it's unpredictable, but in the moments is always relatable. Yeah. And I said this before when we talked about it in like our Tarantino thing, where with all three stories, as bloody and violent and crazy as it gets, ultimately some character gets saved at the end. Which is what I really love about it, and each character kind of learns something about themselves, really. Yeah. Like my favorite thing is just everything with Jules at the end. Of just he's been quoting this badass thing forever until he realizes like I needed like a second chance, you know, like having a near death experience made me realize what kind of man I really am, kind of thing. Yeah. It's really powerful.
Yeah, and then you have Vincent, where the lesson with him is just don't go to the bathroom, dude. Don't go to the fucking bathroom.
3 times he comes out of the bathroom, something's going wrong. Comes out of the bathroom at Marcellus Wallace's place. Oh shit, Mia's overdosing.
Oh, fuck me.
He comes out of the bathroom in the diner. Oh my god, it's being held up. What the fuck's happening?
Jules, if you give that Nimrod $10,000, I swear to God, I'll show him on basic principle.
No, he's not gonna do a goddamn thing. Bitch, shut the fuck up!
Yolanda, you're not gonna do anything.
Sorry, I had to blow up the mic some point in this episode. And then the 3rd time he comes out of the bathroom, he's just being like...
Toaster.
Blown away. Yeah, I love that. I love that little subtle thing with him. What's your favorite story, Evan? Out of the Gold Watch, the Vincent...
The MacGuffin
Vincent Wallace and Marcellus Wallace's wife, and then the Bonnie's Situation. Which is your favorite?
Probably the one with Jules and...
is it Bonnie's Situation?
The Bonnie's Situation.
You're the same thing as me, yeah. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
I'm more of a Gold Watch guy, even though I will admit the first chunk of that story is really choppy. It's the only part of the movie that's not very smooth.
No, I mean, it's okay.
Yeah, that's the thing, it's okay.
No, the movie's flawless. What are you talking about?
As soon as he gets into the car, he's like, what? The things you have to get the fucking watch?
No.
Specifically told him. Under the kangaroo.
No. The only flaw in this entire film.
The gunshots.
Is that the fucking bullet holes are in the wall before the guy comes out.
That's like so easy to fix nowadays.
I know. Why doesn't he go back and just fix it out?
Because Cody, he doesn't like computers. All right. If he wanted to make a movie,
be a George Lucas. Keep going back and tooling with shit.
I'd rather die than stick my dick in an Nintendo.
I mean, the Farrelly brothers did it with Dumb and Dumber. Why can't fucking he do it?
Oh yeah, the recut.
The recut's of Dumb and Dumber. Anyways,
I wish there was other versions so I could just watch the original cut.
this film, the way you guys feel about Clerks is how I feel about Pulp Fiction. This film,
I love both those movies.
This movie resonated with me. I snuck this film at such a young age, and then I had to pretend that I saw it for the first time when I watched it with my mom and uncle, whoever it was. I had to pretend like, oh god, this is intense, and even though I've already seen it like twice.
How did you manage to pull it off in the scene where like they have, they have the gun pointed at that guy in the back, and then they go over a bump, and then blood is splattering.
Oh man,
I was like shocked and laughing at the same time. I was just like, I don't know how my brain needs to process this information.
Because I literally did not see that coming. I'm like,
I was laughing and also like just completely shocked that this happened. Like, what the fuck? What? How?
Well, my pleasant surprise with Pulp Fiction was seeing like the Butch sequence, like in the pawn shop.
Yeah.
Because like I knew about like the dance in Pulp Fiction. I knew about the Ezekiel 25:17, like whatever. Yeah. But, like, nobody really does the whole GIMP sequence that much. So, watching that whole scene, I'm like, I didn't know this was in the movie. Holy fuck, that was cool. Like, the hunter becomes a hunted, and then it's just like, oh, Butch has to make a really tough decision, and it's just so satisfying seeing, like, him and Marcellus Wallace sitting on equal planes. We cool.
Yeah, we're cool. Yeah.
I'm pretty fucking far from okay.
Zed's dead, baby.
Zed's dead.
That technically should be, if you want to do linear, that's the final shot of the movie.
Yeah, the motorcycle. Yeah. And funny enough, that sound effect on the motorcycle starts the whole movie.
Yeah.
You hear it in the beginning.
Oh, yeah?
That's true.
I learned so much more from it. I still have to read that book you showed me.
Yeah, about the making of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love this movie. I think it's the one film I've seen more than any other film. I've analyzed it dozens of times in high school. I still watch it at least on a yearly, maybe like every so often, like twice or 3 times a year.
I hate to say it. There's some movies that you love so many movies so much that there's a society that is kind of sick of it because you feel like you have dissected it.
I've been there.
That's Pulp Fiction's one of them. I gotta sit on this movie for a few more years. I don't want to have something replace it. If something would replace Pulp Fiction,
you don't want something to replace it?
No, something has replaced it once. Jaws has replaced it several times. Okay. Like legit, Jaws has literally replaced Pulp Fiction. It's very neck and neck. Those two. Jaws and Pulp Fiction, 2 favorite best films of all time.
You know, I often like. It's funny you should say that because like on the topic of having my all-time favorite be replaced, I often wonder like, will this movie replace Shawshank Redemption as my all-time favorite? And I'll tell you something. A movie that came close very recently was actually Marcel the Shell with shoes on it.
Oh shit, really?
Because I regarded that every little bit of that is just perfect. Maybe it was like the state of mind I was in when I watched it, but I just adored that movie.
You should buy it on Blu-ray or DVD.
Buy it on a disc.
One of the things that, but ultimately, no, Shawshank is still my favorite, but Marcel the Shell came close.
It's a good one.
Nice.
It's a good one.
Yeah, that was a sweet one.
Like if a movie like replaces Shawshank as my all-time favorite, I want a movie to replace Shawshank as my all-time favorite. Not that I dislike it. It's like that movie will always be sacred to me, but it's like if it remains my sacred, it's like it kind of makes me wonder like, will films ever like get better? Will they ever strike a chord with me at some point in my life? Or maybe like when I'm 50, talk to me again in 20 years, maybe my favorite movie of all time will be something completely different.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Taste changes, of course. Yeah.
I mean, nothing stays.
Like I'm 30 and it's only been my favorite for like 11 years. So
that's pretty
good. That's
like
1/3 of my life.
I think half of my life would be Pulp Fiction.
Oh yeah.
Because I saw it at such a
yeah. So there's one more. I believe there's one more in this Holy Trinity.
We have we have one more. It's the one that won Best Picture. It's one of the most iconic films of all time.
Tom Hanks.
It's a universally praised film that is very hard to be like, this movie to say this movie sucks. You could say it's good or great, but like it's a universally a very sweet film.
Very
and
beloved.
That's Forrest Gump.
Tom
Hanks.
Now,
off of his 2 back-to-back Oscars, Philadelphia and then Forrest Gump. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was his time.
Wow.
And then Toy Story and Apollo 13 the next year.
Jesus Christ.
I like it. I like the movie. I don't love it, but I like it. I think it's so likable. You're very likable. Forrest Gump, you are so likable. I just can't love you.
You can't hate. He's such a pure soul that you just can't. You just like him. Okay.
It's like there's deep down inside critiques I have about the film, but it's totally washed away from the effectiveness of the sentimentality in this film is almost too good.
It is probably the most effective sentimental film I've seen.
Oh.
Like, you see other movies where it's like, okay, you're laying on a little thick, but this one's nice.
I agree.
I love
totally
how
agree.
Cool too. Seeing him like bounce between like all these historical events and meeting all these people. He's practically like Homer Simpson or something. He just like stumbles on the debate.
The Simpsons. I love how The Simpsons dedicated an entire episode to parodying the concept of Forrest Gump with the roast of Homer and with the like, feather like going into his
or even like Homer's enemy where it's like you've been to outer space. Yes. What, you haven't been? You want to see my Grammy?
It's like it kind of reminds me of like something that Forrest would say if like someone was like, you've been to Vietnam. Yeah.
I gotta be honest, guys. This was the first adult film I've ever seen.
Really?
That's great.
Like when I was a kid, it was the first drama I ever saw. Like the first film I saw. I saw it several times when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I always liked Forrest. Like that scene where he has like those rickets on his legs, and he's like, "Run, Forrest, run!" And he just starts like all his machinery just breaks apart. And it's the first time I ever ran, and he fucking flies.
Yeah, it's
every time I want to go somewhere,
I was running.
I love
who scored Forrest Gump again? Hans Zimmer? Or?
No. It was Alan Silvestri.
Alan Silvestri, nice.
Yeah.
Because Robert Zemeckis made this.
Yep.
Nice.
One of Robert Zemeckis' best films. I love the scene where he literally like jogs across the whole country.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Because he's too emotionally hurt by Jenny.
That would have been a decade after Terry Fox.
I mean, the best character in the film by far is Lieutenant Dan.
Lieutenant Dan. I always thought his name was Dang.
So,
and it's like, the day you become a ship captain is the day I'm an astronaut. 1 year.
You call this a storm? Come on.
Lieutenant Dan, ice cream.
Ice cream. Now me, I was scared. And Lieutenant Dang, he was mad.
You are supposed to let me die.
You know what I love? This movie is a little bit of everything.
Oh, it's everything, yeah.
It's a little bit of everything. It's a war film 1 minute, and then all of a sudden it's like
It's a biopic.
A biopic.
A sports film becomes a ping-pong match.
Ping-pong, it's a little bit of everything. It's like it's literally like a walk of life kind of movie.
Yeah, really.
But it's very like played up and kind of like wink like oh, he meets Lenin, oh, he meets Kennedy,
he meets like four different presidents,
he meets everybody, like
I have to pay
Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon.
There's a lot of cute things that it takes you through history. It takes you through the 60s, 70s, 80s. Like
Forrest Gump single-handedly caused Watergate.
Truly did.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Not only that, but he also inspired Elvis to do his signature
he created the happy face.
Now wait. Now when they were inviting African Americans back into schools, was there actually footage of someone picking the book back up? Did they work that within the script?
They did, yeah.
Okay, so you don't see the person, but they had Forrest dressed the same. Is that how they did that? That's a nice touch.
Yeah, this movie.
I just think that the him interacting with like Lennon on the talk show is a bit.
It's hard to imagine. That's easy if you try, Dick.
It's just like their mouths are moving like really fast and like.
I mean, it was new technology at the time.
I gotta pee.
Like insert people into like archival footage.
Yeah.
It was kind of commendable at the time.
Very
I
commendable. I just
today, if they did it, it would probably be seamless.
It'd be seamless.
Oh, it'd be perfect back then.
But Zemeckis is like incredible technical effects. Yeah,
the lip sync is a little weird.
He's done it so many times. Just even Lieutenant Dan's legs.
Yeah.
Holy shit! How did they do that?
With that's because that makes me think.
I love the part where he just jumps overboard and just kind of swims.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, and then he gets a new lease on life after that event.
Yeah, it's funny how some things you can remember, some things you can't.
I love when his arc is beautiful when like Lieutenant Dan like discovers the will to live.
Oh, that's what I mean. He's the best character.
He comes to Forrest's wedding with his own wife, and his legs are made from the same metal that they use on the space shuttle.
Lieutenant Dan.
You got legs.
I mean, Jenny. A very interesting character. Is she meant to be like you're supposed to love-hate her?
I think so.
She's complicated.
Because
it's very
she's
complicated.
Complex.
Very complex,
It's like because like people, the men who watch this movie have labeled her like the biggest tease in cinema history.
But when you really look at her, because it's like all the implications behind her life, her upbringing is fucking rough.
Yeah.
And like the shit that she got into, how she gets mixed up into like the drugs and just essentially being a hippie, like in one part of her life.
I'll always be a girl.
Counterculture.
I'll always be a girl, Forrest. You don't see her for another like 10 years or however long it is.
Yeah. His birthday, Haley Joel Osment.
Oh
yeah. That was funny.
By the way, I hate to be like the nitpicky plot hole police officer, but it's like people have pointed out that's like if Forrest Gump like had the address of where he was going, why did he sit at a bus stop and not go there?
I mean, this is Forrest we're talking about.
Oh no, he didn't know. That's where someone was saying, "Oh, you don't need to take a bus. You can just go down there."
And he runs.
And then he runs.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
okay,
funny.
so then never mind. Forget I said it.
Oh no, yeah.
But
he was waiting for a bus.
Other douchey plot hole police have tried to make that a plot. I'm like, it's not a plot hole.
It's not a plot hole at all.
Yeah, it's not.
He was killing time, being like, "The stranger is here. This is my life."
Yeah, it's the whole framing device.
Yeah.
I love how as the movie progressed, like the first stranger at the bus stop, he strikes a conversation with. It's a little awkward because she's like, "Why are you talking to me?" And then as time goes on, the people at the bus stop change, and they get more and more invested in his story as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
And just
like us, the audience.
And full disclosure, Jenny didn't die of a mysterious Hollywood illness that just kills people inexplicably. She had AIDS. The reason why they say the doctors don't know what's wrong with me is because at the time,
it was a new disease.
Back then, the medical community didn't know how to classify AIDS, so it was going around because it was before it reached epidemic cases in the US. Right. So but when a bunch of people are getting sick, and it's believable too because she had many.
Well, so she had contracted it before she got with Forrest.
Oh, that's after. People have.
It would have to have been after because her kid doesn't have it.
That's true,
but it's a hereditary disease.
But people have made really cynical fan theories that suggest that she had it before she got with Forrest, which means Forrest and Forrest Jr.
That's going down dark territory.
No, people have made dark fan theories that say Forrest and Forrest Jr. both die of AIDS later.
Oh,
so
God.
It's like a Philadelphia precursor.
Oh, Jesus.
But yeah, no. But something I was gonna say. I'm glad we kind of believe that the Shawshank Redemption deserved the Best Picture Oscar more than this. But a parallel between the two movies that I actually find they're kind of like a yin yang, and I'll explain why. Shawshank Redemption starts off dark and gradually gets more hopeful and optimistic and cheery by the end. When I finish watching the Shawshank Redemption, I just have the biggest smile on my face when he reunites with Red on the beach. With Forrest Gump, the movie starts off very lighthearted and very lovable, but it gets sadder and sadder, and by the end of it, I'm just I'm happy I watched it, but
it's a range of emotions.
Yeah, the emotional roller coaster is the opposite in Shawshank.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
by the way, what was the line that you said you replaced at Josh's wedding? You were saying
I'm glad you came back to that. I was initially going to end his speech with, "And if there's anything you need, I won't be far away," but I realized I'm not doing that because in context, he's talking to Jenny's grave.
Yeah.
I'm picking something else.
No.
We kid.
I'll do it better. Bring out the GIMP. All right. I got it.
No, you want to know a fun fact? I'm not sure if I told you this or not. You know when Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery, who co-wrote the movie, when they won Best Screenplay for Pulp Fiction, they showed up, and I think they were pretty drunk. I recommend you guys watch this. They're pretty drunk. They don't speak for very long. Tarantino's like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, awesome. We made an awesome movie. Thanks, Academy. Thanks, you're great. And Roger Avery, all he says is, "Thanks. I need to go pee." And they walk away with Oscars.
Everything has come full circle. I love it.
Yeah.
Guys, this was a great conversation.
It was neat. Yeah, it's cool,
guys.
just picking and poking at movies that we liked in a certain year.
Well, we're doing what we do best. We talk about films.
Yeah.
We're passionate about this, and we picked a fucking great year.
Yeah.
And I have to say, even though Pop Talk is possibly coming to an end very soon, I mean, I just have to say now that I got both of you in the room right now, I fucking love you guys. This was just a great opportunity to thank you so much for allowing me to have my show, first of all, having a platform to do this. I definitely feel like I got stronger, and that only had to do with just all of us still continuously doing So to Speak. And I felt more comfortable and confident of what I want to talk about and what I don't want to talk about, like kind of coming comfortable in my own skin, really, you know. And sometimes I do get a little like anxious sometimes just doing the recordings of just like, oh, should I bring this up, should I not bring this up? I know that
it's a thing.
Sometimes, you know, we're it's a scatter shot of like, you know, opinions and experiences that we all want to get out there, and that's all just coming from like how passionate we are. But it's still just been lovely and fun to do this with you guys every so often, and just thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Cody.
Well,
it's been really
it may
fun.
take okay, beautiful audience. From the So to Speak think tank, I mean, if Pop Talk ends and if So to Speak ends, this channel would like to carry on. Maybe not as often as.
Your show's still going on, and I'm still going to be there for you guys.
Yeah,
of
okay,
course.
that's
but
great.
like, but for my little thing, like, I definitely.
There's an idea.
I've had a good run. I'll just say
it's great.
that.
Yeah. Well, there is another idea for a show I want to bring to the channel, and I guess in time, your beautiful audience will.
They'll still be here.
We will still be here, and you'll get to see like what other goodies we cook up.
You guys have a gorgeous audience. I have a beautiful audience. No, thank you guys. If there's anything else you guys want to say, just say right now.
We're honored. We are honored that we were able to facilitate like such discussions, such rich, you know, good friendly times, and such introspection, and the exchange of opinions in today's crazy world is sacred. We gotta have differences, but it's even prettier when we have commonality. And just, yeah, it's a big part of my life.
What about you?
Testify, yeah. It's been, we've had a lot of really interesting discussions and really fun talks. I still every so often still listen to the Big Lebowski podcast we first did. It's definitely like one of my favorite podcasts on the channel.
Yeah, I like the time that when we did bad music. You know,
that was a fun one.
Or just even the sketch comedy. Like, I think the times that all three of us were on the show together, it's weird how we did television, music, and now movies. And every time it's always been something kind of special.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, the music one was a little loopy.
It was loopy. That was the fun part of it.
Drunk off.
We were high.
On the television one, hey, the 3 stages of sobriety. Like, on the television one, we were drunk off our asses. On the music one, we were stoned off our asses. This one, we were sober.
Yeah,
it took movies to bring us to sobriety.
I love it.
Yeah.
And everybody else, thank you for listening. And I got one more episode in the can. It's a show that I've been alluding to from the very beginning.
Oh.
I wonder what it could be. Teletubbies, no.
Cody, have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
Emphasis on lost.
Thank you everybody for listening, and subscribe to So to Speak, and listen to episodes on there, and listen to the whole backlog to Pop Talk on there, and I'll see you on the last one. And guys, thank you so much. Now, break!
And cut.
Cut, print, moving on.
Now I gotta pee.